Hi everyone, my name is Alexa and I'm a OT student intern at the FRC. This week we are going to be focusing on future planning. So we are going to be working on skills that can kind of set you up for job exploration. The first video is going to be about building a resume. So I'm going to be talking through different tools that you can use on Microsoft Word to help you build a resume, as well as all of the contents of a typical resume and where they belong. So I'm going to be sharing my screen with you so you guys can see where I'm putting all of the information necessary. Okay, so here I have opened Word new template. So it brings you to a bunch of different templates you can use for different things. They have a couple different resume documents. They've got this one here, where my cursor is over here, and then they've got this one down here. These can be useful because they're a little bit different than a typical resume, but if we're just looking at a basic resume, they have one of these. So when we're looking at the basic resume template, it kind of tells you where you need to put all of your information. So typically at the top, somewhere in the corner, doesn't have to be these specific places, but usually somewhere in the upper left-hand corner is where you want your name, address, phone number, and email. If you don't feel comfortable putting your address on the resume itself, you can always say contact for further information or something along those lines. Here is skill summary. So looking back to whatever you have done in the past, whatever jobs you may have, looking at skills like, were you timely? Were you working with other people? Did you work well with them? Are you dependable? Are you calm in certain situations? Different skills like that would set you apart from other people. These can also include skills if you worked with specific things like Microsoft Word, Excel, PowerPoint, or even things like operating a forklift, different skills for different machinery that you have could also go in this section right here. As far as education, this would start with your high school and then move onward. So starting with high school or GED and moving forward from there if you've received any farther education. And then this would also include the year that you graduated. If you have also taken any additional courses anywhere or any other certifications, you could also put these under education. Experience, this would include all of your past jobs. So typically these go in order from most recent or current to ones that are the farthest away in that chronological order. So this would start with where you're currently working or the last job that you have worked. You want to include your official job title, and you want to make this sound as professional as possible, and then your dates of employment. And then as far as key responsibilities, again, you want to really sell yourself in the experience section and include all of the things that was expected out of you in your job. And this would include not just your job, but all of those additional initiative things that you did, just to show that how much initiative you were taking for that job and all of the extra things that you're willing to do for this new job. You want to keep them within a couple sentences. You don't want them to be too big or too bulky because you are trying to keep a resume around 1 page, 2 page max. So you do want to keep these relatively short and succinct, but you want them to be informative. Even if you say, worked at 2 different fast food places, try to set them apart and name some different responsibilities you had for different places. So this is the meat and potatoes of the resume right here. As far as awards and acknowledgments, this would include any extra certifications that you have, any kind of like honors that you have received. You know, if you were captain of a team or a team leader at your previous job, different things like this that you have earned, you would want to put that in the awards and acknowledgments section here. So as far as the word templates go, they're pretty easy to use. You would just kind of click on it and it'll highlight the whole thing and take away what's in the template. So you would just be able to start typing. So timely, reliable, team player. Let's see. So you use these frequently at your job. Different things like this. This is also taking up quite a bit of space when I type them like this, so I want to check my spacing to make sure that they're a lot closer. So it could look like that. Mold this over. You'll end up with 5 or 6 main skills that you would like to capitalize on. Again, you're trying to keep this pretty succinct to 1 or 2 pages. Some general rules of thumb when making a PowerPoint or making a resume, sorry. You do want your name to be pretty large, so typically it's in a larger font at the top because it is a pretty important part of the resume. Not using too many colors is also a pretty good rule of thumb. You don't want it to be too busy with a lot of different designs going on. And as far as font goes, you also want to be mindful that your font isn't too small, that it's not readable, but also not so big that it's taking up way too much space. And you don't want to use any fonts that are hard to read. So any kind of cursive fonts or really like curly Q fonts, you want to avoid those because you do want it to look professional, easy to read. Having headers and things like that are important, so making these a little bit bold and bigger as headers make it easy to flow through and make it easier to pinpoint those things that the employer is looking for. So those are just some things to keep in mind when you're making a resume. Other than that, these are the main components of a typical resume. This could change from employer to employer, and generally they will specify if they want you to include a certain section or if they would like you to include things like a cover letter, which we will go over in another video. But overall, these are the main things that belong in a general resume. So I hope this video helped to clarify any questions you had about a resume, and thank you for watching.